Let's go ahead and get started. I'm Rochelle Wilhite, the designated broker of Best Choice Realty. We're going to be covering our Monday night prospecting. It's been a lot of fun. I've been making a lot of phone calls myself, and I know a lot of you have been doing that as well. And I am going to teach our good friend Eric. He is going to be newly licensed here this month, and he is going to need to, I got to change your name though, Eric, change your name there. We're going to teach him how to actually make some phone calls to some buyer leads. So I think you guys will take a lot from tonight's session, because I'm going to basically teach him for the next 30 minutes what he needs to keep in mind. Now, we're working with the best of the best. Now, Eric is not shy at all. Number one, he takes rejection very well. So that's number two. Some of you are not very good at dealing with a rejection. And number three, he's one of the most positive people that I've ever met when it comes to recruiting real estate agents that are grumpy. So this should be very easy and natural for him to learn how to make contact or make calls for buyer leads. So we're going to spend the next 20 minutes kind of going through that with him on how he would go about setting himself up for that. And then we're going to put him on a dialer and have him make some calls next week when he's back in the office. So there will be a follow-up to what kind of objections that he heard, and we will also catch up with all of you on what are the most common objections that we hear from calling buyer leads. So if you're in for a good session tonight, you're going to just have to take a few notes, because this is definitely ad lib. I'm going to teach just the way I used to when I used to teach it in a dial center. So I've worked with many different scripts. I have been coached by probably 7 different coaches when it comes to creating what to say on the phone, how to say it, how do you engage with a buyer, how do you convert an internet lead, you name it, I've done it. So I'm going to spend some time tonight just kind of going through the basics with Eric. So first thing I want you to do is go to, Shannon's going to be my Vanna, go to bestchoicerealtyhomes.com. And in the downloads, you guys can follow along. This is what I'm going to show Eric. Eric has access to the downloads. And there is a how to build your script. And I know Candace has covered this in the raindrops. So I apologize if this is a little bit of a just kind of a review for some of you, but we're going to go with editable version script, converting a buyer using qualifying questions. So we're going to download that. And that is available to all of you who have access to our resources. So bestchoicerealtyhomes.com. If you're a Best Choice Realty agent, you have access to the best qualifying questions that I have come up with. This is after, like I said, 6 different coaches. Some of the questions were questions that I used to build my script. These work very well with internet leads. And if they're referrals, they still work, some of the questions, but some of them don't make sense when you're talking about something that was a name and a phone number that was given to you. These are meant to convert any lead that is interested in buying a property. So the number one thing when you're being coached is they will work with you on, obviously, the introduction. You need some sort of kind of warm up the call. Eric, I'm going to have you unmute your line, because this works even when we are working with real estate agents that you're trying to recruit. So you need an icebreaker. So if you're going to call me, Eric, and you are trying to do an icebreaker, give me your best icebreaker with an agent. Ring, ring, ring. Hello?
So an agent, like I'm just calling to recruit them for the brokers?
Yeah, just trying to recruit them to Best Choice, right? What's your icebreaker? Something that gets them talking, warms up the call before you can start qualifying them.
So less is always more. The icebreaker I've been using lately is literally, I don't tell them anything and literally immediately ask for the appointment. So here, we can just go from here. Go for it.
Okay. So instead of asking for the appointment, just ask me about, just how to warm up, how my day is going, or whatever your intro is. Okay.
That one? Okay.
Yep. Ring, ring, ring. Hello.
Hi, this is Eric with Best Choice. Is this Rochelle?
It is.
Rochelle, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
That's so great to hear. I had to do battle with the good old-fashioned Seattle storm to get into the office this morning. Did you have the same issues? Were you able to get into the office all right?
Nope, that's great. So that's the intro. I think we overthink the introduction or the icebreaker. Yeah. So the number one thing I liked about what Eric did there is his energy level. You notice his energy level was pretty upbeat and pretty friendly. That's what we're looking for you to do when you're making phone calls or you're calling buyer leads, is you've got to have your energy. You've got to like doing what you do. I have coached people that you can tell the moment they answer the phone, you could tell they hate being on the phone. So first thing I noticed right off the bat with Eric just winging it there was how excited he was about making that call or making that connection. So you've got to have an icebreaker. His icebreaker was simply what? What was your icebreaker? It was like, how are you doing today? Right?
That's
That was it. It can be as simple as, how are you liking the website? It can be as simple as, how are you doing today? I mean, it can be just something very simple that's you. You don't want it to sound scripted. You want to be very, very concise, cut right to the chase, but also very warm and friendly. And it can be a closed-ended question. You could say, is it a good time? I've had somebody I coached where is it a good time to call? You're going to basically get the no, it's a bad time. You can work with that. That could be an icebreaker as well. So it does not have to be like Eric, I think, is like, how's your day going? Or, it's very upbeat and friendly. I think that's one of the ones he likes to use for certain calls that he makes. But that also works with buyer leads. But it could be anything that could be a yes or no answer. It could be just an upbeat, friendly, how are you doing? It can be anything in regards to that. How are you liking our website? Oh, it sucks. Or I like it. It could be as simple as that. Once you get through the icebreaker, then you really want to get into the object of the call. So the anatomy of the call is really, we're trying to either get an appointment or we're trying to get a time when we can follow up with that particular client or that lead. And then we ask them a series of questions that are you weave throughout the conversation. So our object, Eric, is to either get the appointment or to get a time when we can follow up. That's our object of the call. We do the icebreaker next. So after we set our objective, we do the icebreaker, and then we go right into some questions. So one of the things that I pride myself on is I don't want the conversations. We don't want to sound robotic. I've worked with too many real estate salespeople that say, I'm so nervous. I don't want to call internet leads, or I don't want to call buyers because, number one, they don't know what to say. That's one of the things I hear a lot. Or they don't want to sound like a used car salesperson. I hear that a lot. Or they're shy. They're not typically good on the phone, or that somebody's told them that they're not good on the phone. Eric, what are some of the reasons you've heard for not making those phone calls in your sales?
Well, I've heard every excuse in the book. One is you get too busy. One, I'm just too nervous. The best one that I hear the most often is I just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
And then the one that happens the most is once you start talking, once you start getting a few no's, a lot of times people just don't recover from that. They just give up. Once they get a no or two, they just stop making calls. They don't want to get another one.
Perfect. So that last thing you said, where they're worried about getting a bunch of no's, that's what we wanted to spend some time. And that's where we spent a lot of coaching dollars in trying to uncover, I sucked. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I sucked on the phone. I was horrible when I started. When I was I was really bad. And that's when I decided to get myself a coach and just start coaching myself out of my fears. I don't even like doing video cam. Look where I am now. I'm like doing a Zoom. I mean, nobody would have thought that I would do Zoom meetings, 15, 20 years ago. I mean, I was horrible. So how do you coach yourself? You understand that you have a weakness and you put people around you that can help you overcome that weakness. And one of the things that I was super nervous about is I did not want to get the no's. I didn't want to get the rejection. And so once you understand that the questions that you ask will actually get you less rejection, it's like, oh, I get it. I need to basically come up with a script that will get me more answers, more yeses than no's. Instead of just asking so many close-ended questions, I did my icebreaker and then I got, oh, is this a good time to call? No. And then it's like, oh, and then you kind of, your demeanor goes down, your energy level goes down. You want to get as many yeses as possible or get them talking so you can build a relationship. This is a type of lead that all I had was a name and phone number. I converted Donald Ducks and I converted Mickey Mouse. And it's all about building a relationship with that particular lead. I didn't know anything. It was a name and a phone number from Yahoo back in 2001. And I converted a ton of these by just going through a simple script that I created myself. So the reason I have the side on the right blank is because I want Eric to kind of look at the willing. When we're building a buyer script, we want to come up with 2 or 3, maybe 4 questions in each category. Buyer leads respond well when you really start the approach of, are they ready, willing, and able? It kind of goes with that philosophy. I know Candace has taken some sales training and some coaching as well. And all the questions will be related around, are they ready, are they willing, and are they able to make that purchase or make that buying decision when it comes to buying a property or buying a house. Once they are into the able category, that's where some people back in 2008 were really, really struggling, because all they asked questions were, who are you using on your lending? And it was like all about lending instead of about building that relationship. So I've always been coached and trained to ask questions that lead to the ability and the close, which is to get them to actually get an appointment with me and go out and look at some properties, or to find out when we can follow up next about their buying decisions. That's the whole purpose. And then we weave those questions about starting with willing, then going into ready, and then going finally into able. And so we come up with 3 or 4 questions that you're comfortable asking, Eric. So I'm going to just pick on you and have Shannon write them down. We're going to build your script for you. We have your intro down, so that one is good. So what 3 questions do you want to ask in the willing category?
Honestly, I like all of those questions.
Well, you're not going to ask them all. That's the whole thing, is that you'll want to find just 2 or 3. Let's go 3 that you like.
All right. How many bed bath square feet lodge space you want? Okay. That'll give you a good idea of the square footage, and give you an idea of the type as well. So I think that's a really good question.
You could just highlight it, Shannon, if you want. Just highlight, that way we can save us some time. Okay, what other one do you like?
There's always a million things they do want, but definitely some things they do not want, I think is a great question to ask, because you can go on for hours. So if you're trying to build repertoire, I would ask them what they do want. If I want to know what kind of a property to get them, I would ask what they don't want. So
there's things you definitely don't want in a home.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah, I got that from car sales.
Okay.
Yeah. And honestly, why are they on the market? Out of curiosity. If I had to highlight one more out of all of those.
Why are you looking? That's a great question. A lot of people
want
to know why. Many salespeople are afraid to ask why. And that's a great question to ask why. Notice that all of the questions here that Eric is asking in the willing category, they all will end with an answer. What I caught a lot of the newer brokers doing in the raindrops and when we did our dialing session is that they started asking questions. And I did this, I was guilty of this too many years ago, is asking questions in the willing category. And you naturally, as a salesperson, go to the, are you living in Bothell now? You tend to start the question off with an are or an is. You got to stop doing that. That's hard to train yourself to do, but you have to keep the call as open as possible so that you can get as much of them to engage with you as keep them on the phone longer. You want an open-ended question, something that will elicit not a yes or no response, something that will actually keep the call very open so you can get more out of the client. All right. We're shooting for, Eric, we're shooting for, like, what do you think would be the right amount of time to spend on the phone with a buyer lead? Let's ask that.
It's just like a good date. You got to know when to start, but you also got to know when to end it, because you can definitely go too long. I would say when you're just trying to set the appointment, if you're going over 15 minutes, you're in the red zone. You're starting to exhaust your client. I'd say if you're less than 5 minutes, you didn't build enough emotional repertoire with them. So at least 10 minutes. 10 minutes is kind of like that sweet spot. Once you start getting over 10 minutes, a little too much. Once you're under 10 minutes, did you ask the right questions or enough questions?
Awesome. So the answer, I didn't even prep him for that. Good. I got the right person that I'm training. Candace, give you a thumbs up, Eric.
Hope I'm giving you your answer. You trained me.
You want to keep the client, the answer is you want to keep the client on the phone for at least 5 minutes, 5 to 15 tops. Yeah. To get that appointment and move the needle to the next step. So that's what you're shooting for. I actually had a coach, I think it might've been Mike Ferry back in the day. Mike Ferry told me, Rochelle, you got to get yourself one of those clocks that sit on your desk, and you need to train yourself to actually keep that client on the phone longer than 4 minutes. And I had to train myself for 2 months in asking more questions. I was really bad at making those calls. So there is hope for all of you, because I'm still not the best, but I can certainly convert. and convert a lot of leads and convert a lot of clients and recruits. So, so yes, you want to definitely ask the 3 questions there, or 4 questions, the willing. Let's go to the ready. Eric, which ones do you like there?
All right. The time frame question, you got to
Yep.
ask that one. What's your time frame? Because
Okay.
you can get all the right answers, but if their time frame is 2 years from now, you might have just wasted your afternoon calling to them. So you have to have that.
And that question is like, why that time? That's again trying to engage them a little bit longer. You dig a little deeper to the time frame. It'd be very helpful. That's why we put kind of 2 questions in one box there, because you really want to dig into that. It's a great.
Were you working with another realtor? Oh my gosh, I almost feel like you want to put that as one of the first questions you ask. I've been burned so many times working with a client and then finding out down the road that they actually already working with someone else and they were just using me as a formative hitch. So yeah, absolutely highlight that question. Were you working with another realtor?
And that's a kind of an interesting one that you would select, Eric. Were you working with another realtor? You might want to change that. That's not an open-ended question. So you're going to expect that they probably are working with another realtor. So you have to be prepared that they're going to say yes, and you need to follow it up with another question, which is like, have you signed with them? Have you signed with that other realtor? If they have not signed with them, then they're free game. You can continue on with the conversation. Have you signed something with them? So if they say yes, then the call is pretty much done. If they have said, no, I have not signed anything, then it's free game. You can continue to ask more questions. So there's nothing wrong with asking that question. It would save you a lot of time and hassle if they're working with say that their family member is helping them look for a home. You certainly would want to not save yourself a ton of time and money and gas. Let's be honest with what's going on there. So go ahead and highlight that one, Shannon. That's a good one. And then you have a third one in there?
Yeah, I like the question. What questions do you have about the buying process? But I think that's too open-ended. You could be on the phone all night. So I'd want to break that down depending on the kind of customer you have. What excites you about the buying process, or what part about the buying process are you the most concerned? And even though that's kind of a negative question, you can get a lot of positive answers out of it because you can help reinforce their concerns that you have the solutions.
Okay, so maybe modify the ready one.
Yeah.
So what question's the very last one, Shannon? Just
very
frame it the way you would do it, Eric.
What concerns do you have about the buying process? Because you just have what questions you have, you might go, oh, I don't know, it's overwhelming, but if you get more specific, you can get something more granular.
Okay.
And then you know what their objection is ahead of time. Because if they have a fear and you don't know about it, and you try and get into the sales process, all of a sudden they start telling you no and you don't know why, so.
Perfect. Let's go to the ability. So the last 3, I just need 3 or 4 on this one too, or 2 or 3.
All right. What monthly payment? It's classic. It's bringing it back to car sales. I think that's a good one to get.
Okay.
It's less important that they have the right one. It's more important to get that framework so you can start framing them in a realistic expectation.
Okay, which one was that one?
Yeah. What monthly payment would you like to stay with? It's the very bottom of ABLE.
Very bottom one. There you go.
Will you work in financing? What's your credit score? That's, these are all pretty good, honestly. I mean, you can't ask them all. Who will be working with your financing? I think that's good because then you can cover all the other topics and it's in one finite question rather than asking all of those.
Yep. I like who will be working on your financing. That's one I use a lot too.
And that'll be open-ended. That'll automatically lead into their credit score. Are they cash products? So I think that's a nice open-ended question that you can funnel depending on how well you know the client or don't know them.
Okay.
And yes, do you have to sell your home to another buyer? That's good. Yeah. Those ones I would pick.
Okay, perfect. All right. So now he's got then the last part of the anatomy of the call. Once you ask the ready, willing, and able, or willing, ready, and able in that order, right? You would ask those questions in the way that it's outlined here for you, Eric. The last thing would be to close up the call. And I know we worked on closing with you when it comes to recruiting. It's no different than closing out the buyer process. So the closing is pretty much, so here's what I can do for you. You take the approach of, I'm the real estate broker, you're the client. Thank you. Thank you so much for answering my questions. Here's how I work. You also want to try to get the appointment. So what I can do for you is X, Y, and Z. What I can do for you, Shannon. Here's how I work. Here's what I can do for you. You just need some good like statements, some confident statement pieces that lead you into the appointment.
Yeah.
The appointment is pretty simple. It's kind of, I've got Thursday or Friday available. Do you prefer mornings or afternoons? It's that type of appointment setting. Okay, so you're setting up the appointment or the time when you can follow up. So if you're doing the recruiting for agents, how do you end the call? Let's do it that way, because then I can train you the other way. So if you got done talking to me about joining the company, how would you close up the call and schedule an appointment?
Typically, I would not wait till the end of the call to ask for a follow-up appointment, because then you burned up your 10 minutes building a relationship. And if they say no, now you don't have any extra time to overcome the objection.
Okay.
So my inclination would almost be to ask much earlier on about a follow-up appointment, and then to continue asking these questions as follow-up, and then building that as a repertoire to like, all right, so when we meet on Friday at 3 o'clock, you've asked these questions, these are some of your concerns. We're going to meet together and I'm going to have answers for all that, or a CMA or whatever it is that they need.
So you're going to go right to the here's how I work. Let's go with that one, Shannon.
Yeah. So here's how I work.
Okay. But yeah, you're going to get people that are, you're going to keep on the phone, but yeah, they're not typically going to want to schedule an appointment with you right about. You're not going to get that.
Okay. So I'll have to do a bit more relationship building. All right.
Correct. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. So, and then how do you schedule the appointment? So you've got, if you're an agent, you're going to be out of town this week, right? On Thursday and Friday. So so here's how I work. Conclude the call. And I know I'm putting
All right. So Rochelle, I'm going to be out of town this weekend, but I'd love to connect with you. Would Wednesday at 2 or Friday at 9 work best for you?
Oh, I'm busy on Friday. And do you have any times next week where we could meet up to go look at the properties?
Absolutely. I have an opening at Wednesday at 2 o'clock.
That's going to be too soon. My husband doesn't get off work until 4.
Till 4? All right, I can work around that. Would 4:30 work for you?
Sure, that would be fine.
Great.
So yeah, you just have to dodge and weave. You're basically having to work scheduling and having to be upbeat and again, you not appear too available, but to have some options. Candace, speak up, please. I know you.
Yeah, you can see the smile on Candace's face.
This is the close. This is the hard close. So this is where you demand the close-ended quick question. So I totally agree.
Sue's doing okay. You're getting
absolutely.
And you have to ask. When you ask, you've got to be direct. If you try and put around like, oh, I'm thinking about maybe, no, just give them a time and a date.
Yeah, exactly.
Lost in translation.
Okay. I think those are good. So I think we go with the yellow for sure. And then you're going to expect the sooner the better, Eric, because these houses go quick. So there's nothing wrong with saying, here's how I work. We'll probably want to get out and see these houses or properties right away. They don't last through the weekend. We are starting to see some more inventory pop up on the market, but we want to get ahead of this. So here's how I work. I'm going to schedule things, and just tell them that this is kind of what's your schedule like and how do we get you and your husband both out there to look at them. Or maybe I have to go do some touring and doing some web touring first. So you guys can get a feel for the neighborhoods and the condition of the properties. And then we, go out the second time. So yeah, you got to set the stage. You have to set the expectation of where the next step would be. Great. Perfect. Let's go into it. I think we've got enough to work on. Shannon, you're gonna have to watch me on time.
We got 4 minutes.
We got 4 minutes. Not enough time. Well, I guess we have 5 minutes. Let's go for it. Let's see how your script is.
All right, just run into it. All right.
Right into it. Right.
No one judge me. All right.
No, and normally I should just so I don't have facial expression. I'm gonna turn my camera off, and then Eric can talk to the phone. Yes, it's harder.
Cool. All right.
Let me stop my video. And then Candace, just roll right through it, Eric. Just ask the questions and I'll be as nice as I can.
No one else wants to volunteer to do this? No? All right.
All right. Hold on. Let me stop my video. Okay. Ring, 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 ring. Hello?
Hi, is this Rochelle?
It is.
Great, Rochelle. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I had a rough morning getting to work myself, fighting off a good old-fashioned Seattle storm. How about yourself?
Well, it was I'm waiting for some sun to come. My garden's not looking so good right now.
Well, out here in Washington, we did sign up for about 60 days of that a year. So, the odds are getting in our favor as we get closer to summer. Well, Rochelle, the purpose of my call was calling about a listing that I think you were looking at. I just had a couple quick questions for you.
Okay.
Yeah. So where do you currently live?
I'm in Renton.
Oh, you're in Renton? Right on. And now that you're on the market, I'd say how many bed baths and wow, I'm stumbling over that question. I need to script that. How many bed baths are you looking for in your home?
We have to have a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. We are in a very small place right now.
Oh, really? And so why are you looking for a home, if you mind me asking?
We are out of space. I've got baby number 4 on the way and we have no room. No, that's not a real announcement. Side note.
All right. All right. And so, all right. So we definitely need more space. We know what you want in a home. I'd say if there was 1 or 2 things you absolutely did not want in a home, what would they be as we continue to look in the market for you?
I don't want a house that doesn't have good parking. As the kids kind of get older, we know that they're going to be driving. So we definitely have to have places for all of the cars to park. We live in a very small community and there's no places for guests to park. So I don't want to be in a community where you have to have we're moving cars around all the time.
Gotcha. And is there anything else that if you looked at a home, you looked at the front of it or inside, you're like, nope, this is absolutely will not work?
I don't think I want to see CCNRs or homeowners association. I'm kind of done with that.
That is relatable. I feel that in my bones. All right. Well, and are you currently working with another realtor? And have you happened to sign anything with them?
We looked at some open houses in Renton, but no, we haven't signed anything with anybody.
Oh, awesome. All right. And while I'm here, what's your time frame? Would you say, like, now that you're on the market, you've got a couple more on the way, it sounds like, about what speed you need to get into the home at?
As fast as we can get. We've got our house that goes on the market this weekend, and then as soon as we get it under contract, we're ready to buy.
Oh, okay. So you're ready to just jump right into the buying process then.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have any immediate concerns about the buying process?
I don't really know how that works. The real estate agent we're working with to sell our house has not done a good job of explaining the process of what it's going to be like to buy. I think she was just really excited to take our listing and put the sign up. She never really explained to us about buying.
Okay. All right. Well, when we meet, I would love to have a little packet that would actually walk you through step by step of everything about the buying process and how we do business.
Okay.
So
that'd be great. Do you work at the Tukwila office? Is that what I understand?
I actually kind of float around. I do some work out of the Tukwila office instead of we're in Tacoma. And to be honest, I'm just to drive out to meet you where you're at and kind of make it easy for you.
Oh, okay. That sounds good.
Yeah. So are you currently in the process of selling your home? Do you have to sell your home? Or are you looking at keeping it?
Yeah, I think we have to sell. I don't know though.
Okay. And who will be working on your financing? Have you looked at finance options yet?
We have not.
Okay. All right. So we'll have to jump right into that one. And within a reasonable expectation, what would you say is the monthly payment you and your husband would like to see?
If we can keep it between $3,000 and $4,000 a month, that would be reasonable for us. I think it kind of depends on what we can get our house sold for, though.
Okay. And that would have a huge impact on it. All right. So Rochelle, here's how I work. What I'd love to do is I'd love to sit down with you face to face. I would say a little later this week. Houses move very, very fast in this market. So what I'd like to do is build a bit of a presentation for you, move quickly. That way, when you and your husband find something you like, we are ready to jump on it right away. So since today is Monday, would you have some time this coming either tomorrow or Wednesday's filling up? So how about Thursday? So tomorrow I'd say in the morning or Thursday in the evening.
I can have some time on Thursday evening. I've got preschool and I'm running out to go do some medical things that I've got to deal with my mom. But yeah, Thursday could work. What time were you thinking?
I was thinking, well, what time will your husband be home? I'd imagine he'll have a say in the decision-making process, and I hate for him to be left out.
Probably 4. He gets off.
All right, let's shoot for say 4:15, just in case. That way, when he gets home, he has the time to settle in. So I'll do is I'm going to send you a calendar invite. What's a good email address that I could send that to? That way, it's all out of sight, out of mind.
Just willheightweb@yahoo.com.
Perfect. And is this a good number? I could also send you a quick text that way just to remind you Thursday morning.
Yeah, that would work.
Perfect. All right. Well, Shell, well, thank you so much for your time and for answering all of my questions. I look forward to following you through this coming Thursday. And I'll have all of this prepared for you. Ooh.
Awesome.
All right.
Sounds great.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Look forward to that. Have a good one.
All right, Candace. Feedback.
It's amazing. Amazing. And I love how he just assumed the close, where he mentioned to when we meet, like you were prepping that, didn't even have anything scheduled, but basically move forward with, this is his client and we're going to be meeting.
And when you assume the close like that, if they don't want to meet with you, when you do an assumptive close like that, they will tell you.
Right then and there.
You get an opportunity to overcome that.
Right.
So.
Yeah, you got a few great job, Eric. That's good. That's your first time doing it for a lead like the client. So I like the energy. I was probably, I would say, a warm client. There will be a lot more that will be grumpy. And there will be somebody that they're even nicer than me that you will talk to. So
Yeah.
I'm trying to play pretty fair and balanced as far as not super cold, but not super hot either. What else did you like, Shannon or Candace, that Eric did? I think you did a lot of really good things.
Well, and he made it his own. So that's where the practice comes in. I think Eric, like myself, even, I've been through a lot of sales training over the years, but making it your own. So you're not really reading verbatim. You've got these questions as a guide, but you make it your own. And that's where practice is going to come in. And I would like to invite you to 9:00 a.m. on Wednesday, Raindrops, so you can assist me. We are finishing scripting. Sorry. Okay.
No, it's good because we do have, I think where Candace is going is where we're going to pick up next Monday as well, which is objection handling. Because you are going to have, there are the top 10 objections that I'm hearing a lot right now, and we will cover how to deal with those objections. So we'll work with Eric on part 2. But as far as the call though, I think staying focused, you definitely were at the 5-minute mark. I was like timing you exactly. So the 3 questions for each category definitely gave you enough content or enough interaction to get the appointment. It's not like they'll instantly want to go meet with you. That's unrealistic to think about. That definitely got you. So I would say the feedback I would give you to make it even better would be to ask more questions and dig deeper with some of the questions. So tell me more about that. Sounds like you went to some open houses, right? So when they give you an answer.
That was kind of a gimme. I should have asked on that one. Like, what kind of houses did you see? Why didn't you stay with that agent? Those are all good things to ask.
It's just taking those questions and it's kind of like choosing your own adventure, right? So you can go down the rabbit hole. You have your questions that you want to script out, right? That you want to definitely ask. But then have fun with it, right? So get into the conversation and take that 5-minute conversation into more of a 15-minute, so that when you are basically sitting there in front of them and you're asking them to sign a buyer agency agreement and to commit to working with you, they're like, we would not commit to work with anybody else. You've got them from the very beginning and kind of bringing them down the trail with you, right? And having them walk alongside you rather than you're the professional. That would be the only feedback that I said. It's just kind of just making a bit more richer conversation. It's harder to do with role play, but when you're in real deal, you're going to want to add a few more clarifying questions. To kind of, once they answer, you don't want to sound too robotic. You want to ask them, tell me more about that, Rochelle. Tell me more about that experience when you met with that open house, right?
All right.
So that would be the only feedback I would give as far as the script itself on how it went. I think the questions will be very natural for you. You'll kind of maybe switch out some of them, but overall, it's going to keep you on track. So you're not.
That one killed me. Woo! All right. So you've got that's a great example of making questions your own, y'all. If you try and read from the prints, you start stumbling over it. It sounds like a broken record.
So what you want to do is get to the point where Eric naturally asks those questions. He has like his top 10, 12 questions written down on a piece of paper so that he naturally can just roll through them in his head sequentially. And then once he gets it down, then it's just naturally having a conversation, knowing you're going to hit on those 10 questions And then it will sound so good and you'll feel so proud because you'll get so many appointments. You won't know what to do with them all. It's not difficult. It just takes a system or a process, and then basically practicing the script so much with people that you can then ditch it. But most brokers, in fact, I would question whether anybody on this call is at that level, because I saw what I saw, Candace, and I know what we're working on. Many people have not learned these skills in making phone calls. They expect, oh, I can just do it by text. It's not just by text. It's not by email. You do have to pick up the phone. You do have to it's a contact sport on this, on a lot of these.
Well, and I think I'll pipe in too, if that's okay. But I think what most clients are looking for in a real estate agent, especially even those first-time home buyers, they're looking for a professional. They're looking for someone that is going to ask the right questions and be interested in them and know what kind of questions to ask. So by setting up appointment like that in a professional manner, it not only just sets you apart as a professional, but also kind of bolsters you up too. So you're like, okay, I'm going into this appointment. I set aside the time for it. It's all about kind of the setup for it so that you can, it's like in a basketball game, right? You're just like teeing it up, or in golf, right? You're teeing it up so you can just get it right in. And I think having some sort of intake sheet too. I mean, if you're looking at your home office and stuff like that, if you're making phone calls like this, having a place or a CRM or something like that, so you can have that information that you can reference in preparation for your appointment as well.
Okay, very good. Yeah, dig deeper. You're setting an appointment for showing. Yeah, setting up appointments for showings, right? For buyers, that's the goal. Somebody asked a question. It was a direct message to me. Are we setting up appointments for showings to sign a buyer agency agreement? I've done this with Zooms. Candace and I have both done this very well, right? Even with the pandemic, we've done Zoom meetings, we've done video cam sessions, and we've also just done showings, setting up showings to go out and take a look at properties. These types of questions lead to that. So hopefully that was clear for you, Lisa. Yep. And questions will elicit more information than you can. Yeah, definitely work on the questions. If you're feeling like I don't know what to say on the phone, or I'm getting a lot of no's or a lot of rejection, go back to the basics and come up with what is your icebreaker, then what is the questions that you're asking. And if you need to, run them past Candace, run them past me. We'll be happy to give you some feedback on it before you start making calls again. Sometimes you just need to reboot. You just need to refresh. And that will help you get over whatever obstacle you're facing. Awesome. That's all I had for tonight, you guys. If there's any other questions, I'll stay on for a few more minutes. Otherwise, have a great week and we'll catch you next Monday.